Yo, what's going on with y'all? It's your boy Neo XO, bringing you guys a Black Clover Chapter 296 video. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure to subscribe with the bell notification on. At 5,000 subscribers, I will be doing a face reveal, so that's pretty exciting. And also leave a like and comment on the video because that just helps push the video out to more people. And we also just like to have a big Black Clover community. So anyways, getting right into this chapter. First off, I want to say that I really enjoyed this chapter. I think this was one of my favorite chapters because I like the dynamic between Vanica and Noelle, honestly. I feel like Dante wasn't my favorite of the Dark Triad, and it's probably not Yuki Tabata's favorite either because he was kind of the one defeated very easily, and he was not shown very much love by Yuki Tabata himself. So he's probably not the most popular one. Now, when it comes to Vanica, I like her a lot more than Dante, and it makes the fight a lot more interesting to me. So starting off, we get another look at Noelle's Spirit Dive Saint Valkyrie armor, and just looking at it, it radiates energy. So this is a very strong form, you know. Just the way he draws it and the way that Vanica's looking at it in amazement tells us a lot right there. Like, she's just radiating a lot of energy, and Vanica herself is actually looking at her with eyes wide, like in disbelief. She's like, I can't believe this. Look how strong this character has gotten. And this tells us a lot about Vanica because she's actually looking at Noelle and getting chills, and she's kind of getting excited to fight this form. And this form is really nothing to play with. And just going further into the chapter, Vanica is just ready to fight, which I have to give it up to Vanica and also the Dark Triad in general. They have never really been scared to fight their opponent. We haven't really seen Xenon, Dante, or Vanica ever scared to fight their opponent, and they always just go at their opponent like they're going to win. So Vanica goes ahead with the first move, and she uses her Crimson Beast in succession against Noelle. Now, Noelle quickly makes quick work of these Crimson Beasts like they were pretty much nothing. I don't even think Noelle actually took any damage whatsoever from these Crimson Beasts, which is saying a lot because this is an attack from a high level mage, and Noelle just blitzed straight through all of them without taking any damage. So that's very important to point out because back whenever they were in the Heart Kingdom, the Crimson Beasts weren't that much of an obstacle. They were able to get rid of them, but they also had help at that time. So I just want to say that. Now, Vanica's not really surprised that Noelle was able to take out those beasts. And it's pretty interesting to see just how evenly matched Noelle is up against Vanica. I wouldn't even call it such an even match. I would actually say Noelle seems to have the upper hand in this fight so far from what we have seen in this chapter. Now, I do have to point out that Real points out in this chapter that she is weakened, all right? Magicula and Vanica are weakened because of Charlotte using her Blue Rose techniques that basically hinder curses from reaching their full potential. So it is kind of more like Vanica versus Noelle and not really Magicula coming in and using her curses and just making it very lopsided because she's having two magical attributes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's really Vanica versus Noelle, really Magicula not really interfering at this point right here. So the chapter then goes on and we find out that Noelle can only use this form for 60 seconds. That's coming directly from Undine. So of course Undine would know the limitations of this new power because she's a spirit, and spirits have been around for a long time. So Noelle replies and she's like, I'm only gonna need 30 seconds to finish off Vanica. And that's kind of an awesome quote from Noelle because she has an entire 60 seconds where she's like, I'm not even gonna need all that. I'm just gonna need 30 seconds. I'm gonna need half of the time that I'm able to use just to defeat this. I don't even need my full time. So that's a cool quote by her. And looking at Noelle's facial expressions through this entire chapter, Yuki Tabata actually did a really good job of illustrating exactly how Noelle is feeling. Noelle is in the zone. If you're ever in a situation where it's kind of life or death, or you're just in a situation where you're completely focused, you get in a zone that you kind of just make everything else irrelevant for those seconds, and you're just completely focused. So Noelle's completely focused on Vanica, and she's not messing up at all. She's doing everything right. She's hitting in succession. She's hitting her with offensive spells. She's hitting her with all of these physical techniques, and Noelle's just showing an amazing performance in this chapter. Honestly, the choreography in this chapter is absolutely amazing, and I really enjoyed the choreography in this fight. So Noelle's fighting her to her fullest extent, and Vanica gets a flashback, and she's like, this is just like the time where I went on a rampage to test out the devil's power, because we have to realize that she wasn't born with the devil's power. At one point, she was possessed by Magicula, and she wanted to test out the new devil's power. So what ended up happening was she went on a rampage and injuring a lot of people. Eventually, she crossed paths with Acier Silva, that's Noelle's mom, and they had a battle. Now, Acier was rumored to be the strongest woman of that time. So Vanica, being the battle crazy person that she was, wanted to go to the absolute strongest person. So it seems like they were probably the top 2 strongest women at the time, because right now Vanica is probably the strongest female in the series at this time. Now, I know some people are gonna make an argument for Maria Leona, and that's an argument that's definitely worth having. It honestly is. Maria Leona is up there too, but not getting too far into that. It seems like Vanica was just really psycho, and she was going to kill Noelle and Noelle. Now, this does make some discrepancies in the fact that this is not the original story that we were told. We were told that Noelle was the reason that Acier died, because Acier died giving birth to Noelle. That's what we were told. So I'm not sure how she's alive here. It's probably going to be explained later through Noelle. Perhaps Noelle lied, and he had a reason for lying about that, and we just don't know what it is right now. So Acier was faced with protecting her children, because during that battle they kind of got exposed, and Vanica was going to kill them because she said that children only make you weak. And in typical shonen fashion, we have the mother, and she's like protecting her child. Obviously, I wouldn't even call that a shonen trope, but the reason I said it's a shonen trope is because one person, basically it's a battle of ideologies. That's why I call it like a shonen thing. So Acier is basically saying she's going to show her the strongest is whenever someone protects their children, and I can definitely agree with that. So we see a look of shock on Vanica's face during this flashback while she's fatally wounded by Acier. Vanica does look a lot younger in this. I know devil hosts aren't supposed to age, but she just looks younger in this. I don't know if that's just to make out the difference between the flashback, or if she just aged a little bit, but that's just my 2 cents on that. So after being fatally wounded by Acier, Magicula used her curse warding magic, and she basically said something in devil language, which is crazy. Like I like when they speak in the devil language. It's just way cooler than just regular speaking a spell into existence. So okay, now back to the present. We see Noelle using her Sea Dragon's Roar on Vanica, and this is an extremely powerful spell, as we've seen in the past against her, like when she fought against Veto, and it's even more powerful now. So she uses this on Vanica, and then she hits Vanica seemingly in the exact same spot that her mother did that fatally wounded her. So we're gonna have to actually see if this attack fatally wounds Vanica again this time, because they did say that that wound that Acier hit her with in the exact same spot was a fatal wound. So we're just gonna have to see. I think that's kind of what Yuki Tabata is probably going for, since they hit in the exact same spot. So we're gonna have to see what happens with Vanica in the next chapter. Will Magicula take over again? Because that's what we did see in the past with Acier. Magicula ended up taking over and using her curse warding magic to save Vanica. so perhaps that'll happen again. Overall, this was a very interesting chapter. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the next chapter of Black Clover. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please go ahead and leave a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. As always, it's been your boy Noelle XO, and I'm out.